Welcome into the 49ers Report right here on Chat Sports. I am your host, Chase Sr. The Niners back at practice in Santa Clara in the shadows of Levi Stadium today as we get closer and closer to Week 1 against the Detroit Lions, and there are a lot of news items to get to and takeaways from that practice, so let's get into it. We start off today's show with Trey Lance. Back at practice, there wasn't a splint on the right index finger of his throwing hand, but here's the thing. He didn't throw at all. So is his status going into Week 1 against Jared Goff and the Lions up in the air? Is there potential that he might not play? Lance, no protection on that right index finger, which is a good sign because he suffered that injury in the preseason finale against the Las Vegas Raiders in Week 3 of the preseason, but didn't take any snaps, didn't make any throws, and the original timeline for Lance coming back from that injury was around 7 days, that injury first occurring on August 29th. So we're about at that 7-day window, but Lance's status going into Week 1 has to be up in the air because if he can't grip or throw the football, that's a problem. And if the finger injury hasn't healed, that's a problem for him as well because if Kyle Shanahan does go with a 2-quarterback system and Trey Lance runs the football on a majority of those snaps, he's not going to be able to take contact against that injured finger. Matt Mayoko, NBC Sports Bay Area, was on the sideline for practice on Monday. He had this to say about Trey Lance. It remains to be seen if Lance will be able to grip and throw a football on Wednesday when the 49ers begin full preparations to face the Detroit Lions in the regular season opener on Sunday. Jimmy Garoppolo will be the 49ers starting quarterback. The team's third-string quarterback, Nate Sudfeld, is on the practice squad. The 49ers could opt to elevate him to the game day roster on Sunday if Lance is unable to serve in a backup role. I'll tell you this, I've watched a lot of Nate Sudfeld over the years, and we watched him in the preseason. He was worse than Josh Rosen. If he's the number 2 behind Jimmy G in Week 1, it's not the best sign for this 49ers offense, which I think when healthy could be one of the more dynamic offenses in the league, especially if Kyle Shanahan does run that 2-quarterback system. But this finger injury for Trey Lance not only impacts him throwing the football, because that's the obvious one. If he can't grip a football, he can't throw it. The accuracy, there are already problems there with the accuracy waning a bit because sometimes the mechanics aren't necessarily fine-tuned, but I don't think Trey Lance will be able to run the football, and the Niners coaching staff won't put him in a position to run the football if that finger injury isn't 100% because they don't want to damage the confidence or the finger of their prized possession who they took at number 3 in the 2021 NFL Draft. I'm unsure if Lance is going to play, but now is your opportunity to let your voices be heard in the comment section down below. So Niner gang, chime in right now. Will Trey Lance play Week 1? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Be sure to get those votes in. 49ers Report is presented by our sportsbook partner, BetUS. Football season is here. It's game week, so it's time to put down the lettuce, lay down the bets, and put some cheddar on the San Francisco 49ers. If you go to chatsports.com/49bet, enter the promo code Niners125, you get a 125% deposit bonus, meaning if you put $100 in your account, you get $125 back, meaning you got $225 to wager with. Niners going into Detroit, 7-point favorites. The over-under right now, according to BetUS, set at 45.5. That number seems low, but that's because this Lions team is expected to be awful. Jared Goff hasn't had good protection in the preseason. That receiving core could be one of, if not the worst, across the National Football League. I kind of like the Niners at -7. Use that link in that promo code to get that 125% deposit bonus. And now that the regular season is here, we do have a new live showtime here on the 49ers Report. Every single Tuesday throughout the upcoming 2021 NFL season, I will be live on the 49ers Report at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. We usually do a couple of segments. We take your questions throughout the live show. If you want interactive and informative 49ers news, rumors, and coverage, hit that red subscribe button and join us for our live shows once again, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. We did cover this on the 49ers Report over the weekend. Monster news in free agency as the Niners signed free agent cornerback Josh Norman as a depth piece in the secondary. And we knew at the time of the signing, according to Jay Glazer of Fox Sports, who broke that news, that there was going to have to be a corresponding move. That corresponding move did take place on Monday. Dontae Johnson, who was a surprise maker of the 53-man roster last week, has been let go to make room for Josh Norman on the 53-man roster. And Norman, already in Santa Clara, he practiced on Monday alongside his defensive teammates. And with questions at the cornerback position in terms of health, Josh Norman could suit up in the scarlet red, white, and gold on Sunday against the Lions. Not the most ideal situation, but the good news for DeMeco Ryans and this Niners defense, even though he hasn't played in the preseason, you're talking about a former Pro Bowler and a former All-Pro who still has some gas left in the tank. The Athletic and David Lombardi on the Niners cornerback situation, he said this: quarterback isn't the only position of intrigue for the Niners. There's a question mark at cornerback, too, after starter Emmanuel Moseley, who has been dealing with a hamstring strain, missed Monday's practice. Moseley was running on a side field while the rest of his teammates practiced. If Moseley can't play against the Lions, the Niners would either turn to rookie Deommodore Lenoir or rookie Ambry Thomas, or perhaps insert just added veteran Josh Norman into the lineup. Norman went through his first practice on Monday. Going into the opening week of the 2021 season, this is your starting secondary for this Niners defense. Across the board, Emmanuel Moseley, K'Wan Williams, Jimmy Ward, Jaquiski Tart, Jason Verrett. Some of the backups: Tavon Wilson, Talanoa Hufanga, Josh Norman, Deommodore Lenoir, and Ambry Thomas. I like the starters, but as I've said, I do have some concerns about the depth. That's where the signing of Norman factors in, and it probably points to Richard Sherman not coming back to Santa Clara. I talk about Norman having a pretty illustrious career for a guy on the outside who was a shutdown corner, one of the highest paid cornerbacks after he signed that contract with the Washington football team, a very productive player since getting drafted out of the 5th round out of Coastal Carolina by the Carolina Panthers. And these numbers gaudy throughout the course of his NFL career. 440 tackles, 15 picks, 83 pass breakups, which is phenomenal, and 13 forced fumbles. Josh Norman isn't the player that he once was in his prime when he played at that All-Pro caliber level, But if Josh Norman has some semblance of those prime days, given all of his experience and kind of the mentality that he has and the defensive IQ that he has, he can add a little bit of something to this Niners defensive secondary. Are you worried about the Niners secondary because of those depth issues and because of some of the injury issues? Type W for worried, type C for, nah, I'm chilling right now, and the Niners secondary is chilling. Get those votes in and let me know. I used to be really fat. I'm just keeping it a buck and being honest here, and that's because late at night during my college days, I would eat all these traditional crappy brands of cereal, but now I've cut all of those traditional brands out of my diet, and now I'm kicking it and rocking with Magic Spoon. Per serving, you get 13 to 14 grams of protein, 0 grams of sugar, only 4 grams of net carbs. Magic Spoon uses healthy ingredients, so this cereal is not only delicious with all of the best and phenomenal flavors that they're trotting out there, but also it's loaded with protein, and they don't use all of those awful ingredients that really negatively impact your health. And here's the deal. Thanks to our friends at Magic Spoon, if you go to magicspoon.com/49ers report, you get $5 off your purchase. I have my power rankings of the best Magic Spoon flavors. Peanut butter number 1, fruity number 2, cocoa, especially when you roll it into some peanut butter. You put it in the freezer for 20 minutes. You got peanut butter balls late at night with some more protein. Bang, bang, Niner gang. Once again, magicspoon.com/49ers report. You use that link and you get $5 off your purchase at your checkout. I'll be sure to put that link in the description as well as the comment section of this video. We continue to talk about Jalen Hurd here on the channel, because my man can't stay healthy and he can't get on the practice field. Crazy to think that since getting drafted in the 3rd round of the 2019 NFL Draft, he has only played in 2 preseason games, no regular season games, and only a handful of practices, especially during training camp. It's been maddening because the physical upside is tantalizing. 6'4", 6'5", 230 pounds, looks like a tight end. When he's healthy, he runs like a wide receiver. But here we go again. Missed practice once more on Monday. A big reason why he sat out of all of these practices throughout training camp and has only appeared in the one preseason game against the Raiders is because he's been dealing with knee tendonitis coming off that torn ACL that he suffered in training camp back in 2020. 2 preseason games since getting drafted in 2019. At one point, is it enough? At one point, do you ask yourself, should the Niners have kept Jalen Hurd on the 53-man roster? Because if he can't get on the field, he is occupying a precious roster spot. And the more I think about it, the more I see that Hurd isn't partaking in practices, the more I wonder, is Jalen Hurd going to be able to play week 1? And more, I think about this. Was it a mistake putting Hurd on the opening and initial 53-man roster? If the guy can't get on the field and you don't put him on PUP, and he's not inactive, then he's occupying a roster spot. And that's a problem because you could use that roster spot at a different position of need. Maybe like offensive line depth, maybe like secondary depth. So Jalen Hurd against the Raiders, I thought he looked slow, decent as a pass catcher. I was expecting that because he hadn't played a game since 2019. But you got to get on the practice field to prove that you can stay on the field consistently. He hasn't been able to do that. So what tells me he's going to be able to play against the Lions? Do you think he's going to play against Detroit in less than a week? Type 1 for yes, type 2 for no. Man, we keep talking about Jalen Hurd, and it's maddening because you see all of the potential on display, but we know the National Football League sometimes stands for not for long. Maybe Hurd's career isn't going to last long if he can't stay healthy. Before we get out of here, 5 analysts on NFL Network have picked the San Francisco 49ers, your 49ers, to win the Super Bowl and bring the Lombardi Trophy back to Santa Clara. So I want to look through everything that they had to say. There were some deep dive predictions and analysis, so let's get into it. First, Adam Rank on the Niners winning the Super Bowl. He picked the Niners to win over the Browns. He said, people seem to forget how good the Niners were in 2019 when they were last fully operational. Now they are back to avenge their previous Lombardi loss. Tough for the Browns, whose first Super Bowl Sunday ends in defeat. Greg Rosenthal, he picked the Niners over the Ravens. Trey Lance becomes the first rookie quarterback to lead his team to a Super Bowl title after Fred Warner tips Lamar Jackson's potential game-winning throw at the buzzer. Talk about being specific. My goodness. Mark Sessler, 49ers over the Bills. Kyle Shanahan, season-long on-field sea poem, captained by electric rookie Trey Lance, crescendos with a dominant offensive showing, 250-plus ground yards after a heartbroken Bill squad at uber fancy SoFi. We are using all type of verbiage and vocabulary here. Lance Zierlein, 49ers over the Chiefs. Kyle Shanahan exacts revenge against the Chiefs in a Super Bowl and finally brings home the Lombardi with touchdowns from both Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance. And then lastly, Kevin Patra, 49ers over the Bills. No rookie quarterback has ever made it to a Super Bowl. That all changes and then some with Trey Lance unleashed in Kyle Shanahan's offense. The Niners blast past the Bills in a shootout that leaves Buffalo once again a game shy in the Lombardi quest. Myself and producer Marshall Green, we were laughing at how precise and exact all of these predictions were, but with the regular season a little less than a week away, it is peak hashtag prediction season across the National Football League. So to celebrate and to acknowledge those analysts picking the Niners to win the Super Bowl, this is what I want you to do, Niner gang. Just type big rings in the comment section down below, and let's hope that all of that talk comes to fruition. And before we get out of here, subscribe to the 49ers Report. We are getting closer and closer to 40,000 subscribers. Again, if you want your 49ers coverage in an informative, educational, but entertaining fashion, this is your spot. Hit that red subscribe button down below or go to youtube.com/49ers TV.